And we're live.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Building Your Wellness Brand Within Your Community. I'm Dr. Alan Weinstein with my co-host, Dr. Randi Ross. Today's episode is brought to you by Epic Consulting, making sure your electronic presence is all it needs to be. Community Wellness Day, every great opportunity begins with the first step. Take that step with Community Wellness Day, the system, the official marketing program of healthcare professionals everywhere. The VIP app, the only application that allows you to bring your live hangouts just like this one to the desktop, smartphones, and tablets of all those people that have you in their circles. Our apps are so good, people are going to want to lick them. And of course, the new just released program, Google Plus in 10 minutes. This is a step-by-step guide to all things Google for your business. Find out more at tinyurl.com/Google in 10. Today's community health program is how to use Hangouts to build relationships that will grow your business. With that said, here's our host, Dr. Randi Ross.
Well, thank you, Dr. Allen. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. And always remember that for most of you, other than if you're watching in the VIP app, because we are simulcast in 5 different places, if there is a comment box below where you're watching, let us know where you're hanging out from. Feel free to ask questions. If we don't get to them during the event, we'll make sure to get back to you with that information. So since we do Hangouts with you every week, this is how we come to you and bring you all the information and the great guests that we bring you all the time. I thought it was really important to share with you how Dr. Allen and I actually use Google Hangouts as a platform to grow our businesses and by building relationships with people. And actually, this is a tool that I use from within Community Wellness Day. It's a great strategy to establish and even build upon relationships that you might already have. And as a result of that, we know that's going to have an impact on your business and allow you to have growth. So, Dr. Allen, what I'm going to do for a couple of minutes is I'm actually going to share with people how I use Google Hangouts personally as a tool to build my business and kind of give you those steps that I take and have it, sink in there in the deep crevices so that you can start thinking about ways that you can do this. So hopefully all of you watching know how to host a Google Hangout. If not, Dr. Allen just shared with you where we have a program that will take you through those steps. We do also offer for those that just don't want to do it but want to have a Hangout where we come in and we produce a Hangout for you. So right now I'm going to talk to you as if you are the host of your own Hangout. So typically this is what I do. Now you can do this virtually. I'll explain it virtually first, and then I'll kind of translate it into when you're a local community business, how you use this tool, how we use it with Community Wellness Day. So one of the very first things that I do is on social media, I watch certain people. I look for people that have something interesting that I think all of you would like to hear about, or sometimes it's people that we know could actually expand our reach as a result of their relationships. So the way that I go about doing this is I begin to follow them on whatever social media they're on. So if it's on Facebook, you like them. If it's here in G+, you circle them. Go to their YouTube channel and subscribe. And then start commenting on their things. So you want to like their stuff, you want to share it if it's appropriate with your particular audience, and then you want to add comments where really a lot of what you're doing is complimenting their post and how it has added value. What you notice is that starts to build this virtual rapport with people, and almost like, it's initiating this virtual relationship. Then typically what I'll do after I've established that relationship and had some of these exchanges, I will actually send someone a communication, depending upon what platform I see them on most is where I send it. And I let them know that we've been the host of our own Hangout for a couple of years now. It's a great show. I explain our platform and typically what we're sharing with our viewers and how I've been following them now for a while, and I think that they would be a great addition and bring value to our program. Now, most people will respond very favorably. what that does is that allows me to really open the doors and build relationships with that person. The thing is, asking someone to be interviewed, to be a guest on your show, is really a big compliment and not to be taken lightly. And people embrace it that way. So everyone likes to be interviewed. Everyone likes to think that they're an expert and a specialist. So you will see probably 90% of the time, if not more, people are going to respond and embrace your invitation. I just want to finish my thought, Dr. Allen, then I'll let you jump in here. So once I initiate that contact, we select a date for them. Then I go ahead and I have this email that I populated that explains all the details. I actually do pre-interviews with most people, and really what I mean by that is we come on and we do a mock hangout, make sure they're familiar with the process, any of the little ins and outs, and then just talk about a few questions that we're going to share in the exchange. You never want people to feel uncomfortable, or as you say in Brooklyn, be caught flat-footed. So they have a little bit of an idea. Sometimes they'll suggest things that they want to talk about as well. So that's how I use it from within this virtual kind of context that we're talking about here. And I can tell you, over the past 2 years, I have built some amazing relationships with people that I have used this, invite them to be a guest on the Hangout platform. Some of them you're going to see in the coming months are really, really amazing guests, and we get an opportunity, Dr. Allen and I, to really expand our reach. We build these relationships, and you never, ever know where these relationships are going to go. Dr. Allen, before I move on to my next point, I know you wanted to jump in here and share something. Still want to share? Got to unmute.
Yeah, actually, I did want to share a couple of things. Number one, what I wanted to say was, remember that whenever you're doing these, you have to add the element of consistency. Don't start doing Hangouts, do 1 or 2 and think, hey, no one's coming on, I can't get any guests, I don't know what else to talk about, and then don't do another one for 6 weeks, because consistency is really the name of the game. If you're going to do Google Hangouts, which you need to, especially if you're a business, then you're going to commit to do them for a year, because that's really how you develop a rapport and a reputation with other people that are on Google. You have to show that you're in it for the long haul. That's number one. Number two, remember that if you're consistent, it adds credibility, and when you get credibility, what happens is then people that you approach to be on your show, they realize that you have that credibility, and they're not looking at it to enhance your show, because, I mean, as much as they want you to be successful, who would want you to be unsuccessful? They don't really care either way, no matter what they say. They're in it for, if I'm on Dr. Randi's show, what will that do for my business, my exposure, and how will I get out there? So that's the second thing I wanted to say. The third thing I wanted to say is, when you pick the subject matter that you're using for your Hangout, this one is really about relationship building primarily. Realize that we take a much broader reach than just dealing with health professionals, although certainly our show caters to health professionals, and a lot of our guests may even be health professionals, but relationship building crosses every niche, so we're not locking into, closing ourselves down to only deal with people that are in the healthcare business. So we're really open for anybody, and we could do a show for any business only because the topic itself has really far-reaching benefits to all those people concerned. The next thing is realize that when you go ahead and create video, which is what you get for a Hangout, you will get a YouTube video, and you do have the opportunity to search engine optimize that, so it will give you broader reach than just in Google, and you could use those videos in your blog, you could use those videos on your YouTube channel. Remember, these are archived. You could use those videos on your mobile apps if you have the VIP app, and realize one of the most important things about being found in search engine optimization is content, and as a consequence of that, you will get content, and you want to make sure it's good content. Realize that 95%, and these are statistics that are really true, in every market, not just in the health market. 95% of the top marketers in the world use video, so you have to use video, so that's an important statistic to have. Number one, it takes 34% less content to have the same level of engagement if you're using video in the things that you're doing, your blog, your website, that type of thing. It's much easier to determine the effectiveness of your marketing programs when you're using videos, and again, Google Plus always turns into a video. This is a video. Right now it happens to be a live video. So you could do, you're able to assess the value of your marketing, if it's effective or not, much, much faster than you would than any other means of doing it. And 74% more people will engage with a video on a website than any other type of media, especially just asking them to read something. The last piece of that is you will get, as I said, or if I didn't say it, I'll say it again, that 34% more people will engage with you, so you need less traffic to accomplish the same goal for your business. So I just wanted to add those pieces.
Okay, and those are very good points, and I'm actually going to expand for a minute to just make a point on what Dr. Allen said is, and I get this question a lot with people I work with where they feel like, well, I don't have that much different, subject matter, so to speak, to talk about every week, week after week, and you have to really, open up your mind. I think in the early days of Dr. Allen and I doing Hangouts, there was a time when I kind of felt that way, and then, really opened up my mind and realized that, as Dr. Allen said, what we do really crosses all business platforms. And now, as you know, we bring you guests from, from all different areas of expertise, because business is business, whether you're a health provider, a realtor, or someone in a religious institution. And we've had Pastor Dan on twice, who really was eloquent about explaining how he uses the model of his business relationships. You see that there's so many similarities and so many common links that really cross all platforms in business. And when you sit down and think of it with an open mind, I just did this with a realtor that's a client of mine, and we're going to start doing Hangouts, and they're like, well, I mean, what am I going to talk about? I have properties or something. And then when we started really listing all of the elements that, a real estate agent, the level of information they have, from inspections and roofing and radon and, mortgages and title, the list went on and on. We literally have 75 topics, and we didn't even start doing Hangouts. We're just setting up their program. So it just gives you really the insight into whatever your platform is. Just don't pigeonhole yourself into thinking, well, I can only talk about what I do. Actually, when you open it up, you're going to embrace more people. And that's how actually the next thing I want to talk about is how I use this for community-based businesses, especially those that do community wellness day with us. This is how we use Google Hangouts as a tool to really even enhance their event and the relationships they're building as a result of their event. And as a result of that, we invite people to be on a hangout guest. So typically, when people are working with me and they're out in the community, one of the great things that we have is our platform for Community Wellness Day revolves around health, safety, environmental, and financial wellness. So we're really broad in that application. So all the people that I have them build relationships with in their community, and that's everything from, politicians, police and fire, other health providers if they're a health provider hosting the event, other, large business owners, CEOs of companies if they happen to be there, financial institutions. There's so many people that they're building these great relationships with that are going to be a part of their event, that they go through the steps to initiate the relationships. Well, then what we do is, part of being, a part of their event, whether they're someone that's a participant or possibly even a sponsor, we say, we're hosting a Google Hangout, a live Google Hangout. We'd like you to come on and be one of our guests and share your knowledge and your expertise. Well, again, as Dr. Allen said, even though their initial agenda is to make sure that your community wellness day is successful and you're successful for the community, they also know that that's increasing their visibility, their credibility, and giving them exposure that they're not having without being a part of this. So we use this in that same format as I described, where you can do it virtually. Well, you use this same tool when you have relationships in your community and you invite people in. One of the things that Dr. Allen and I do when someone's going to be a guest on our show and we give them all the details is we say to them, you know, please share this with your tribes as we will with ours. The more people that are exposed to our event, the more successful it is for everyone concerned, and even for the viewers that are getting this information. So if you're a local business, you might invite on, you know, your local state representative to talk about some important things that are going on in the community, or you know, the president of the school board to talk about certain things that are coming down the pike, or your police chief. Maybe there are certain things that are really inherent in your community. You know, or other types of issues that relate to families and children, or health issues. Or, I mean, as you see, the list is really endless and can go on and on forever. So the point again is, this gives you an opportunity to align with people in a very unique way. You know, this really takes relationship marketing to a whole nother level. And you almost, I'm going to say, almost, you create a very unique and interesting rapport with people when they're on the event. Dr. Allen and I always, you know, see that when we bring on someone, and often our guests are people that only I've met with for a few minutes to do a, you know, a pre-interview, a mock hangout with them, and yet they come in the room. You know, we're very relaxed, we're very warm and friendly, and we make everyone feel really comfortable. We really do all the work for them. That's the other thing. People don't want to have to do a lot of work, so I really ask for as little things from people as possible. I kind of tell them, hey, you know what? Just show up. Just show up. Bring yourself. Bring your information. Bring your knowledge, expertise. Let's share it with our viewers. You know, that's really, well, if you start asking people to do a lot of work, all of a sudden you're going to see that you're going to be met with a little bit of resistance. And this is a great tool, like I said, whether you're meeting with someone that you've never met before, you start that relationship, and then I use the tools that I teach. I never ask you to do anything that I haven't done or currently do. And then I use the tools that I teach you as far as relationship marketing as a way to continue those relationships. One of the other things that I will tell you, a little tool that I use, and I don't know if everybody uses this, but after someone's a guest on our show, I always, and I say always without a doubt, I send a handwritten thank you note. And that's a really powerful tool, and I think we've talked about that a number of times in past events, that's a strategy that I teach and that I use. And for a hangout guest, it is, in my opinion, it's critical, and it's really important that you do that step. I actually have a set of notepads right in my desk drawer, and as soon as the event is over, the very first thing I do is I take out my note cards, I write a personal handwritten thank you note, and I get it in the mail on the next day. Those are the little things that people remember. But also remember, if you're using this tool, which I do and Dr. Allen does as well, to build relationships, to impact and grow your business, don't let it end there. Even if it seems like people kind of drop off, you know what? Continue to follow them on social media. And I'm not saying you have to stalk them. Don't be a social media stalker. We'd never encourage that. But continue to follow them in these various social media platforms. Continue to comment on them, because that's how you'll keep the relationship going. And from time to time, give them a call and say, hey, you know, we haven't connected in a while. Just wanted to check on you. How are things going? You know, depending on what program they're in or what they do. You know, ask them if there's some way that you can help them. Are they hosting an event? You'd love to come on and bring some information and add some value, and so on and so forth. So obviously you have to know who you're dealing with and how possibly you can strengthen that connection. But you got to stay in touch. You know, you can't just pop up once a year and, you know, be welcomed by people all the time. So I know Dr. Allen's back and he's unmuted, which means he's ready to tell you something very profound, so pay attention.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that I want you to think when you're doing a hangout not only about the guest, but I want you to think about the audience. And here's the reason why. I tell this to people all the time, but very few people follow this, and it's probably the most important thing you need to know, and that is having a hangout that's longer than 30 minutes is almost really a useless event. Because think of it this way. Do you have an hour every week to follow someone's hangout? Even if the situation turns out that it's a great hangout, chances are you don't have an hour, and in the replay, people will not watch it. Now, my dogs are going to make a lot of noise because there's someone that just came here, so you can hear a lot of barking, so I'm going to mute myself out in a second. But also realize that lots of people, especially if you have a VIP app, watch these hangouts on a mobile device. You're going to burn out their battery, which you're going to force them to tune you out. And lastly, if you look at the stats in your own YouTube videos, an hour hangout, if you get people that stay there longer than 15 or 17 minutes, those you're going to be shocked. Most people will drop off at the 20-minute mark, but if they know you're doing a half-hour hangout and you stick to it, they will stay through it. The other thing is that remember, in terms of search engine optimization, that Google gives you higher rankings if people watch your video from beginning to end. If you have an hour video and no one's staying for an hour, guess what? Those videos will not get you search engine rankings. So just wanted to throw that in. I am going to mute myself and disappear for a couple of minutes.
Well, and that's really, really important. You know, what Dr. Allen said is to, you know, not just do a hangout, but to understand some of the particulars and some of the ins and outs, so that you're getting the most out of it. You know, you always hear that, for me anyway, that it's all about maximizing your efforts. You know, I squeeze every last ounce out of everything, you know, that I do. So that's important to know. Some people think more is better. You know, well, I'm going to do an 8-hour hangout because my guest or myself has so much to say. But like Dr. Allen said, if you ever looked at someone's stats, and that's not how many views you see. As soon as someone clicks on it, it can get a view. But you know, you want to look at the stats as to how long people are staying. That's why you notice our hangouts every now and then we run 5 minutes over, but it's very rare. We really stick to that. An option, and I don't know how Dr. Allen feels about this. He could share his comments if he has one. An option that you can have is keep your content. Our content really typically when we have a guest runs about 25 minutes because our opening and closing is usually about 5. But keep all of your content, really your entire hangout, to that 25 to 30 minutes. And then if you wanted to do, you know, a live Q&A or something along those lines, you can let people know that, you know, we've now really concluded our program. We're going to do a live Q&A, but those of you that have to go, you know, feel free to sign off at this point. Now, you've given them the content. They've stayed long enough because, as Dr. Allen said, you're consistent and they know you're sticking to that time frame, so they've stayed through your content. And for those that have questions for you or your guest and you want to invite them in the room, well, you know, that's a good format to follow. Those that want to hang around or can still hang around, you know, you get the opportunity to do that instead of forcing people to sit through an hour. And I could tell you, as many hangouts as I watch, even I lose interest after 30 minutes. I mean, I guess there's every now and then someone that's very, very compelling, but you know, we all have a very busy schedule, and if you want someone to slot you in, make sure that you're respectful of time the same way you would want someone to be respectful of your time. That's just such an important thing to remember. So we really want to encourage you to use Hangouts as a great tool to grow your business. This relationship, this exchange that we have with guests, the initial contact I make with them is obviously virtually, either on a social media platform, in an email. Then I meet with them. We get a chance to get to know each other, and then go through a hangout process. Then they come here into the room. Let me tell you, by the time someone comes in the room and I've already had an exchange with them, met them on a mock hangout, we already have a rapport. We've already established a friendship. And by the time this is done, people feel connected to you. So I've now created a situation where someone is much more connected to me and likely to even do business with me than if I just, contacted them coldly on social media without a way to engage them. In other words, we use Hangouts to engage our viewers, but we also use it as an engagement tool to get to know people that we can build relationships with. And all of business, you'll hear me say that over and over, time and time again, is all built this way. So if you're not doing Hangouts, you need to. If you don't know how to do Hangouts, please contact us. This is one of the things that we do, and we do it better and simpler than anyone else. Now's the time to start doing this. It's not hard, I'm telling you. It is not hard, and here's the best part, it's actually fun. This is one of my favorite times of the week is Hangout time. So please, take the time to learn this, follow these steps. I guarantee you'll engage people either virtually if you're a virtual business, or if you're a local community business. This will get you connected and building those relationships with the people that are going to help give you that, what I always refer to as long-term sustainable growth. You can't do this on Facebook, that I promise you. Dr. Allen, are you back with us? I see your face back.
I am. I'm back.
Okay, well, go ahead and bring up your screen because we're going to stick to our 30-minute mark, and unless you have any closing comments, I'm going to give it back to you to close us out.
Okay, we're ready to go. We've been listening to Building Your Wellness Brand Within Your Community. I'm Dr. Alan Weinstein with my co-host Dr. Randi Ross. Today's episode was brought to you by Epic Consulting, making sure your electronic presence is all it needs to be. Community Wellness Day. Every great opportunity begins with the first step. Take that step with Community Wellness Day. The System, the official marketing program of healthcare professionals everywhere. Of course, the VIP app, the only application that allows you to bring these live hangouts to the desktop, smartphone, and tablets of all those people that have you in their circles. And, of course, the just released Google Plus in 10 minutes, a step-by-step guide to all things Google for your business. You need to have this if you're thinking of doing Hangouts, and you need to be. So visit tinyurl.com/Google in 10. On behalf of myself, Dr. Alan Weinstein, Dr. Randi Ross, my co-host, we'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
Bye, everyone. See you next week.